10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.
Chesh. Hello, this is Jason. In this video, I want to cover what you need to build your basic MovieShop nonlinear video edit system. Czego potrzebujesz? Niewiele. Not much, but all the pieces for the basic setup can be challenging to find. It may take you a while to find all these treasures, but it's worth the adventure. So put on your fedora, grab your whip, and follow me. The basic components that you need to look for are a suitable Amiga, some media storage, a VLab-Motion card for video capture and playback, a Toccata card for audio capture and playback, and a couple monitors. For your Amiga, you need a working system with the following minimums: 68030 processor or better, 2 megabytes of fast RAM or more, a free partition or a dedicated hard drive, and at least one free Zorro 2 slot. All Amiga models can be expanded to meet most of these requirements, except for the last one, the Zorro slots. Big box Amigas, including the Amiga 2000 series, the Amiga 3000 series, and the Amiga 4000 series, all include Zorro 2 slots. For the Amiga 1000, 500, and 1200 models, you have several third-party Zorro busboard add-on options available. These can also be challenging to find, so you may be better off with one of the big box Amigas, unless you already have the necessary hardware. If you have an Amiga 1200, you could put it in an expansion case with a Z2 busboard. My Amiga 1200 is in a Micronic Infinitive expansion case with a Micronic Z2 busboard. At one point, I was planning to put my VLab-Motion edit system into this computer. For the Amiga 500, you might expand it with something like a Bodega Bay. This provides 4 Zorro 2 slots plus 3 drive bays. For the Amiga 1000, a Phoenix expansion box provides 2 Zorro slots. Note that not all busboards are the same, and some may be incompatible with the VLab-Motion system. If you happen to use a different Zorro busboard option for an Amiga 1500 or 1200, or have better suggestions, please share the details in the comments. The only Amiga systems that you can't use are the Amiga 600, an Amiga CD32, or an Amiga CD-TV. These can be upgraded to meet most of the requirements, but you cannot add a Zorro 2 busboard to them, as far as I know. If there is such an option, let me know in the comments. For processor and memory, the documentation recommends that you have a minimum 68030 processor with at least 2 megs of fast RAM. It may be possible to use a 68020 or slower processor. Even if it works, video editing is demanding and your experience will be far less satisfying. A note in a MovieShop 2.1 manual said there are some known issues with GVP accelerators. You may want to keep this in mind. This may have been resolved in later revisions. I'm using MovieShop 4.3 with a GVP T-Rex 2 060, and I'm not experiencing any major issues with that accelerator. A faster processor will improve overall system responsiveness and reduce effects and transition rendering times. More fast RAM, preferably on your processor card, will permit larger MovieShop buffers. If you don't already have a graphics card, maximizing your chip RAM can allow you to work more comfortably with higher resolution Amiga screens and greater color depths. For media storage, MovieShop can work with a minimum of one media partition or drive if you're only working with video. If you want to use audio in MovieShop, you'll need a second media partition or drive setup. MovieShop versions 3 and 4 are limited to 4 GB per partition or drive. Earlier versions of MovieShop were limited to 2 GB partitions. Also, it's very important that you place your MovieShop partitions within the first 4 GB of any drive, even if your Amiga OS is updated to support larger partitions. For best performance, MovieShop accesses the drives directly with its own format, ignoring any Amiga OS file system updates. Placing any part of your MovieShop partition above the 4 GB barrier will result in the RDB being overwritten, destroying all your drive definitions and resulting in loss of data.
Self-destruct activated.
You can work with slower drive controllers and slower hard drives, but it will limit your achievable maximum video quality. When possible, upgrade to a faster drive controller like SCSI-II, coupled with faster hard drives. It is possible to use newer solid-state media drive options with your Amiga system and MovieShop. I've used a couple so far. My current Amiga 4000 Daenerys setup uses 2 CF cards. I will do a separate video on drive options for MovieShop. In the meantime, if you are curious about solid-state drives and the Amiga, please reference this excellent fact on EAB. If you are only working with video, then you just need one free Zorro 2 slot for your VLab-Motion card. The earliest versions of MovieShop did not yet support audio, but it was always planned and was soon added. If you plan to work with video and audio, then you'll need a second free Zorro 2 slot for your Takata audio card. If something isn't working, try placing your card or cards in different Zorro slots. If you are using a third-party Zorro busboard expansion, that may introduce some incompatibilities. Leave a comment about your experience with third-party busboards, and I can compile a list of ones that work and ones that have issues. While you can enhance your Amiga with faster processors, faster RAM, faster drive controllers and drives to improve achievable MovieShop performance and quality, the ultimate data bottleneck in your system is the Zorro 2 bus. The VLab-Motion and Takata boards are Zorro 2 cards. They cannot take advantage of the faster Zorro 3 bus introduced with the Amiga 3000 series. Moja recomendacja Amiga. My Amiga recommendation for you. If you don't already have a suitable Amiga for MovieShop, I suggest that you look for an Amiga 2000 system. This will be far less expensive than any Amiga 3000 or 4000 series. The Amiga 2000 has plenty of free Zorro 2 slots and a wide array of accelerator options ranging from the venerable Commodore 82630 to a brand new Apollo Vampire with many old and new accelerator options in between. Many accelerators provide 32-bit fast RAM expansion, drive controllers, and other features to greatly enhance your Amiga 2000. Once you have your Amiga system ready, you need to find a VLab-Motion card. There are at least 4 versions that were produced, ranging from revision 1.0 to revision 1.3. Earlier revision boards can have stability issues and may limit you to using earlier versions of MovieShop. One note I have suggests that revision 1.1 may be limited to MovieShop version 3.6. The early revision boards can get stuck in playback and require a reboot. For MovieShop versions beyond 4.3 up through 4.9, you'll want the later revision VLab-Motion cards, the revision 1.2 or 1.3. One note of caution. Macro System also made a card called VLab, and this card also has a revision 1.3. Sometimes people confuse these boards with the VLab-Motion cards. The VLab is a predecessor and only digitizes still frames. If you look at a VLab and a VLab-Motion card side by side, you will see the difference straight away. The VLab board has fewer components and fewer I/O jacks. You need a VLab-Motion card to edit video with MovieShop. You cannot use a VLab card. For the Toccata card, you are safe grabbing whatever board you can get your hands on, assuming it's in working condition, of course, but that's true for all of this vintage hardware. On the audio side, if you're having trouble finding a Toccata card, you may have a few other options to try. While MovieShop requires a Toccata card, there are a few Amiga audio cards that offer Toccata emulation. ACT's Prelude, Alien Design's Repulse, Kato Development's Melody. Since these boards are using an emulation layer, they may not be 100% compatible. I don't have any of these boards yet to experiment with. If you have direct experience using any of them with MovieShop, or know of others that provide Toccata emulation, please leave a comment below. I would also encourage you to contact those developing new Amiga audio cards and ask them to consider providing Toccata emulation. There are many talented developers reproducing and reverse engineering newer versions of old Amiga hardware. Maybe someone with the talent and interest will make a new VLab-Motion card as a Zorro 3 board, maybe even combining a VLab-Motion and a Toccata into a single card design. We can only hope. Until then, work with the vintage cards that you can find. Of course, you'll want to be able to see what you're doing, so you'll need a monitor appropriate for your Amiga setup. Commodore 1084 is a standard option that can be used to display crisp native Amiga output. On the cheap side, using an A520 video adapter, you could connect your Amiga to a cheap TV. An Amiga with a graphics card or a flicker fixer can take advantage of VGA monitors with higher resolutions and refresh rates. You can also use newer and generally cheaper LCD-type monitors. I picked up a used Dell monitor and connected it to my Retina BLT Z3 graphics card, and used a cheap LCD TV with multiple inputs as a monitor for my MovieShop output. This LCD TV accepts composite, S-Video, component, and VGA, plus RCA audio. Zalecane system podstawowy, recommended basic system, an Amiga 2000 series with Amiga OS 2.0 or newer, a 68030 processor card or better, with 2 megabytes of 32-bit fast RAM or more, a hard drive controller and drives, 2 monitors. If you've gathered all the necessary components, congratulations. Gratuluję ci dobrego robota. Now you can put it all together Do your testing and troubleshooting as you go, then start editing in MovieShop. Teraz zacznij montaż video. Getting to this point can be quite an endeavor, a large investment of your time and your resources. Now protect your vintage system, zawsze, with a good UPS. Thank you very much for watching. Dziękuję bardzo wam za uwagę. Miłego dnia. Papa.